All right, welcome back. This is MDawg, and we are once again taking a look at our leveling experience here on Cozy Dog. We're currently level 22, so I sort of had an idea, and this will hopefully extend the life of this series at least by a few days, if not more. But basically what I realized that one way that I could continue to stretch this series out a little bit and hopefully provide some useful information is actually when I'm streaming during the day and playing on my main account, I can pull this account up on my other computer, and I can experiment with a couple of spots and then just make a short video reporting back sort of how we did during that day on one or two spots, something like that. Hopefully that makes sense. You'll see as we go in this video kind of what I mean. I envision these being like, I don't know, maybe 10-minute videos instead of the often like 30 to 45-minute length in videos. So first let me show you where I fished on. We've got two spots. I've got one here at Mosquito to show you and one at Winding. And we'll mostly be doing bottom fishing in this when I do it this way, at least. If I'm wanting to like show you some float fishing or some spin fishing, then I'll have to do that in the old way, because obviously I've got to be, it's a lot more active, requiring probably more than I can do while fishing on my main account. So anyway, this is where I was fishing today. This is at 5387 here on Mosquito. Now the cool thing about this spot and this setup is we are using boilies. So I'm going to show you the setup here after I throw this back in. And we're at an 8-meter clip, so it's a short clip. I think I've fished here before, even with boilies in this series. But we once again have gone back to the Creme Brulee 14, Caramel 14 with cream dip. Large one hook, so big hooks. Now there are Crucian gibbles here, so if you don't want to use the carp setups, then you can still just like run your 12 hook or whatever size hook with bread or semolina, whatever. And I'm sure you'll still do fine here. But what the purpose of this is to see if you can get an early trophy. Trying to catch the Crucian gibble trophies is what you have a chance for. So in just a little bit of time spent earlier on stream, I did manage to get a couple of Crucian trophies. So we started here. So the first fish was a trophy. 2 hours and 15 minutes to, 1 minute ago. Well, but there was a little bit of a break. Anyway, mostly it was just over 2 hours of fishing. So as you can see, very slow, but we got 2 trophies. So if you're just really wanting to catch a trophy, this does work. And we got a common carp. This eyed really took me on a run for my money. It was a runner. And then this common carp is almost 5 kilo. I mean, this thing just basically had his way and finally got tired, and we pulled him back in. So it was definitely a success, but like I said, it's slow. I think in the earlier episode, what I did here in this spot was I fished with the boilies on 2 rods, and then on the 3rd rod I used bread and semolina combo, or back and forth, and that was probably a little more action packed. This really was slow. So if this is the only fishing you're doing, it's going to be a little slow, but you get to see some nice fish, some bigger fish than you're used to at Mosquito, and definitely some trophies. We earned 121 silver. Again, not a great average on silver, but that's because we're trying to sit on trophy. Let's make sure there's nothing here. So there's an eyed order. Now that's 19 silver. Let's double check that. So if we go to eyed, the biggest one is 16 silver. So it's slightly better to do the cafe, but not by much. Not by much, but we'll do the cafe. We didn't catch roach while we were here. There's actually very little for us. We can test this as well. This is probably worth it, 4.65. I'm going to just say it is, because our gibbles weren't that big. And we didn't catch rough here. The rough we caught were at Winding. So let's sell the rest of the fish. So that's going to be another 101 silver. So about 130 silver that we made here, up to 2,500 silver total, which we're excited about. Start buying that caliber HSV soon. All right, so we don't have any other fish on. let me set up at Winding, and I'll show you where we fished there. All right, I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. So we are here at Winding, and currently I'm testing this bleak day spot down here at G3 at 106, 123. Typically it's more of a bleak spot than a dace, but just kind of seeing how it's going. And then the spot that we actually fished at bottom fishing during my stream today, I will show you in just a minute. It's down at camp. I did not get a nibble. Let's actually change the hook size even smaller.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
And thanks for the follow, Killer Penguin. And let's just make sure. I'm just curious. I haven't fished this spot in a while. I just don't know if the bleak are still biting here or not. We had several bleak orders that I saw that popped up today off and on here. And you can get bleak at the spawn, but it's a little bit slow, a little bit unreliable. Ooh, look at that dace. And so I was just wanting to see like if we had another option. So these are all the fish we caught. I mean, it is a crazy list of fish, though. This farm is more about completing cafe orders and just seeing different species that you're not used to seeing. I think we completed 4 or 5 cafe orders earlier. If we were to be able to get a few bleak here, we'd even get more, because there's another current bleak order. There's one. So we had bleak, we had a blue bream, regular bream, chub, common roach. By the way, all these fish I've shown you, what have you noticed so far? A lot of them non-marker size. And that's because when I show you the setup, you'll see we're using small hooks and bloodworms or regular worms. But thankfully there were a few decent fish mixed in there as well. So if this spot is still working, which, you know, we've called a dace and a bleak, it's definitely a little slower than it's been at times. Let's get it a little farther out there this time. So roach, we did have some dace on bottom. Here's the exciting part. Donnet's ruff we've been catching down there. Crayfish, gudgeon, which we had a bunch of gudgeon, by the way, because I filled a cafe order. So there's actually quite a few gudgeon. Gudgeon is one of the main fish you'll catch down there on bloodworms on the feeders. And several people have trophied them down there as well. Let's just go ahead and head back. We don't need many more bleak, right? Just one more for that order. So maybe we'll catch one at spawn on our way back in. Finish that order. But just to be clear, this is what I did today down here at the camp spot. So I had, of course, 3 rods in, not 2. And on just one rod, this third rod, I was using regular worms. And this is definitely by far the best bite rate, but you're going to get just some weird combination of fish. It's not always the most, the best fish. But the first 2 rods, I actually use bloodworm. Another bait you can use down here and do really well is redworm. So I'll put these back in, and let's see if we can get one more bite maybe. And I can show you, I can show you kind of how I would set it up. All right, so you can go paternoster or basic bottom. I sort of use a combination of both. And just to have something in the water, I've been using roach mix, but you don't necessarily have to use ground bait. And then again, bloodworm or redworm. Mostly I've used bloodworm down here because I was trying to catch some of those gudgeon, which we did and filled a cafe order. We're going 10-meter clip. And actually earlier, I think I was casting a little further right, but it surely doesn't matter down here. Just kind of casting straight out. We're just a little short 10-meter clip. So again, here's another fish on worm. Another small bream. We got quite a few of these. The good news about these bream is we can turn them into fish pieces. And not that we're going to get lucky and level up any, but it is something we can do. with these non-marker bream. 60.3. Hey, we did get lucky. Okay, so let's just go ahead and check the rods. If we don't have a fish on, that's fine. We're not going to wait around forever. But once again, we had a lot of nace here, and I did a nace cafe order. A lot of these, unfortunately, because I filled a bunch of cafe orders, we had a rough cafe order. Some of the fish that I caught aren't actually here. White bream. I know this is not that many markers, but it's hard to catch marker white bream at some points. So the fact that we caught all these, and that one was on red worm, and that one was on bloodworm. So the biggest one we caught was actually on bloodworm. So a lot of nice fish caught down here. Again, not really a silver farm, but still a fun experience and a good way to get some bottom fishing points if you're trying to level up bottom fishing. Hey, we got our bleak. This is one of the better ways to do it. Because of the variety of fish you catch. And so let's head back to spawn and so I think hopefully we made around 100 silver. We made way more than 100 with the cafe orders, but I had to fill those before they rolled off. So I think I filled 4 earlier and then 1 later. So somewhere around 5 cafe orders. So that was probably, somewhere around 100 silver for those cafe orders. And then maybe we have another, so many of these are not markers. So maybe we have another like 70 silver or so in fish. We'll see. But if you're trying to level up your bottom fishing, that spot is terrific. You'll notice you get points pretty often there because of the fish that you're catching. And it's always fun when you have a chance to catch those Donnets rough. Those are a rare fish that are really fun to catch. And just because of the variety of fish, you're going to likely fill a bunch of cafe orders just depending on what has popped up. So first, let's see total fish. Yeah, we've got 98 silver right now. So these Donnets rough are worth a lot. And then everything else fills in. See, we would have had a lot more silver here, but we turned in a lot of these nace and gudgeon and stuff for cafe orders, rough as well. There was just a bunch of cafe orders earlier that I just had to pounce on. Here's a bleak cafe order that we should be able to fill now. So that's 22 more silver. Just awesome. And of course, we could do Crucian gibble up in the pond. White bream, I think if you fish there longer, you would get there on white bream, especially the smaller one. But anyway, it's just an interesting day catching all these fish. Then that puts us up to 2,600 silver. And you can also, like I was saying, if you really want to try to catch bleak and dace, we talked about this yesterday, but you can fish here. And one thing I noticed earlier today, you can actually bottom fish here with bloodworm, flies, that kind of stuff. It's not great, but you will occasionally get a dace or a bleak. Unfortunately, you also get like perch and chub and eyed and that kind of stuff. But this spot is still active. It's just not quite as active as you want it to be for float fishing, at least in my experience right now. Okay, so that'll do it for today. Now we'll see how tomorrow goes. But if I'm bottom fishing on stream tomorrow, my hope is that maybe I can try these same spots again, or maybe there'll be something else that comes across my attention and I can go test those and then report to you once again like we did today. Again, just a short video updating Cozy Dog and hopefully giving you an idea of a couple of spots that are working if you are still at lower level and trying to figure out where to fish and what to fish for. Hopefully this will be helpful. As always, thanks for watching and tight lines.